Scoodly doodly doo, it's time for another Welch review. Scoodly doodly doo doo.
Well, hello there, everybody, and welcome to the Welch Review. We are your hosts,
Stefan and Sam.
That's right, that's our names. That's who we are.
Glad I figured that out.
Definitely not alien imposters. Today we are talking about The Suicide Squad, which is a kind of recent film. It's been out for a couple weeks.
A couple weeks. Yeah, not to be mistaken with the
original
previous one, which is just Suicide Squad.
Yeah, this is the second
Yeah,
one.
they have a whole other letter that makes it different.
Yeah.
And okay, so in the or the, depending on your pronunciation.
Oh wait, is that literally the difference? They added the to the start?
To the title.
That's kind of hysterical. Alright, keep going.
So anyway, yeah, like they could have had like a cool like subtitle under it, like, oh, the next hit or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, When Stars Fall. So it could have been dope. Anyway, moving on. So in this film, right, you have Michael Rooker as Savant. Michael Rooker was in The Walking Dead. He played Merle. Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2 as Yondu, so he's no stranger to the superhero genre. You also have Idris Elba as Bloodsport. He was in Thor 1, 2, and 3. He played Hemdale, the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
He's also from Rock and Rolla, The Take, and the heist film Takers.
Yeah, he's in a ton. He's a big boy.
Idris Elba's the man.
Yeah.
Margot Robbie. Yeah, I'm just
Whatever.
saying the same
Margot
thing.
Robbie.
Margot Robbie reprises her role as Harley Quinn from the first Suicide Squad and from Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. She was also in The Wolf of Wall Street and Focus. Sylvester Stallone is in this as the voice of King Shark. And he was previously in James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy 2, so this is their second collab of superhero proportions. And again, Rocky, Rambo, Cliffhanger, Judge Dredd.
If you don't know who Stallone is, you probably haven't seen movies.
Yeah, you need to do something different. Joel Kinnaman reprises his role as Rick Flag from the first Suicide Squad. He was in the movie Run All Night and the Netflix show Altered Carbon.
Yeah.
You have Jay Courtney as Captain Boomerang, reprising his role once more. He was in Terminator Genesis, Spartacus, Blood and Sand, and the first Suicide Squad. Then you have John Cena as Peacemaker.
John Cena.
Yeah. Anyway, you get it.
That's the only cool thing he's done in life. Keep going. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
I don't like him.
And he was most recently in Fast 9, where he plays Vin Diesel's brother. Which
they look nothing alike.
Not even a little bit. And then he was also in earlier films such as The Marine and 12 Rounds. And they really seem to be trying to push him to be a star. You'll get into that. You have Sean Gunn as Weasel. Sean Gunn was in Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2 as Kraglin. And he was also the on-set Racket Raccoon. Like, he did the movements and stuff.
He's just a gem.
And then he was in the Belko Experiment. He also has two roles in this. He plays Weasel, but he also plays Calendar Man.
Wait, Calendar Man's in this?
Yeah, remember he's the guy who calls Polka Dot Man.
Oh, wait!
Yeah.
That's Calendar Man?
That's Calendar Man.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so different in the animated movies.
Yeah, he is. He's very Silence of the Lambsy in the Long Halloween part.
Yeah, keep going.
Then you had Pete Davidson as Blackguard. He's from SNL, right? Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
He's also in The King of Staten Island and The Dirt, the Motley Crue story. You have Nathan Fillion as TDK, and he's on the ABC show The Rookie, Slither, and Serenity. And Serenity is a spin-off film of his hit show Firefly. And then you have Flula Borg as Javelin. And Flula Borg, I'm told, is an internet personality. He was in Pitch Perfect 2, Trolls World Tour, and Ralph Breaks the Internet, so he hits a lot of sequels.
Yes, the worst Wreck-It Ralph.
And then you have Ma Ling Ning as Mongal, and she was in Wonder Woman, Scorpion King, Book of Souls, and Debt Collectors with Scott Adkins. And then you have Daniela Melchior as Ratcatcher 2. She's a Portuguese actress. So she's been in, some Portugal films.
Some Portuguese?
Some Portuguese films, sorry. Such as A Herdeira, Porque Meyer, Valor da Vida. right? I thought that all sounded pretty good.
Valor, yeah.
Valor Davida.
We don't speak Spanish, so we apologize.
Or Portuguese.
Or Portuguese.
However,
yeah,
I
Portuguese,
did take
isn't it?
Portuguese in college.
You did, for like a month.
I love that teacher.
Anyways,
She
we
was the
apologize to whoever's culture we just butchered.
And then you have Jennifer Holland as Amelia Harcourt. She was in American Pie, The Book of Love, AHS Double Feature, which is the new American Horror Story, and The Peacemaker Show. And she also happens to be the director's girlfriend, fiance, and her wife. One of the big three, or all of them in one. So...
She's
Anyway.
not that important in the plot, though.
Steve Agee as John Economos, right? He's from Superstore, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and The Connors, right? Which is a spin-off of Roseanne. He's also a comedian. You have Tanashi Kajese as Flo Crawley.
Mr. Crowley.
From the show Cold Case, Powers, and Dynasty. I think this is the girl who cold cocks Amanda Waller in the head.
Alright.
I think that's who she is. David Dasmalchian as Polka Dot Man. And
Love me some polka dot.
David Dasmalchian is interesting because he is a bridge like James Gunn to the Marvel Universe. He plays Kurt, one of the Scott Lang's like burglar homies in the Ant-Man films. He was also in The Dark Knight. He played like some insane guy. The Joker got to shoot Commissioner Loeb.
Alright.
And he was in the film Prisoners. He's going to be in Dune. And he played Calendar Man in Batman The Long Halloween Parts 1 and 2. So he is very comic book oriented.
What's kind of funny is that in this comic, in this movie, Calendar Man like talks a massive amounts of crap to him for like the 5 seconds that he's on screen. Calendar Man, that is. But again, in another movie, he plays Calendar Man. And like 2 other films.
Yeah.
In fact, he has the most on-screen appearances as Calendar Man, or not appearances, but
Like,
roles.
yeah.
As
He's
Calendar
most
Man.
on-camera Calendar Man.
Yeah, and he gets more smack talk to him from Calendar Man than any character in the history of the game. Keep going.
It's never his day, man. Then you have Storm Reed as Tyla. She was in A Wrinkle in Time, Slight, and Euphoria. Tyla is Bloodsport's daughter. Then you have Alice Braga as Sol Soria. She was in I Am Legend, Elysium, and Predators. You have Peter Capaldi as the Thinker, and he's pretty popular in Doctor Who, World War Z, and he was in the movie Christopher Robin, which is great. Juan Diego Bolto as Silvio Luna. He was in the film La Sestina, The Europeans, and White Lines. White Lines is a pretty big thing on Netflix. It's from the same group, I believe, that made the popular Money Heist.
That's coming out soon in like America.
Is it really?
Money Heist? Yeah.
Okay.
I think on Netflix.
Well, the original one is, I believe it's
It's Italian.
It's Spanish.
Oh, it's Spanish.
Okay. Like from Spain.
Yeah.
But that's the guy who Hobson made that.
Yeah.
Bella Ciao. And then you have Joaquin Cosio as General Suarez. He was in Quantum of Solace, which is pretty dope. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and The Lone Ranger. So he's pretty well versed in a whole bunch of cool stuff. He's done some cool stuff.
Yeah.
And then you have Viola Davis as Amanda Waller, reprising her role from the first Suicide Squad. She was also in the film Fences with Denzel, and in the female-led heist film Widows, which was dope. And then this is written and directed by James Gunn, who brought Guardians of the Galaxy to the world, right? And he directed Slither, wrote Scooby-Doo, and the film Super, with Rainn Wilson hitting people with a pipe wrench.
Which Scooby-Doo, though?
The first live-action Scooby-Doo. I believe he wrote both of those.
Huh.
So it's interesting, like, the progression that James Gunn has made.
Mistake. Anyways. Yeah, alright.
So that's
quite the cast.
who's part of the squad where you might have seen them before.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in this.
There are a lot of them.
Alright, so the plot picks up with like half of those people dying. They like immediately assemble a
Spoilers.
squad. It follows dude who plays Yondu, can't remember his name right now.
Savant.
Yeah.
Michael Rooker.
Michael Rooker as Savant, and then like his whole team goes in and just like dies. One of the guys is Detachable Arm Kid, or TDK, or DTK?
TDK, the Detachable
The
Arms.
Detachable Arms.
The detachable kid.
The detachable kid. His power, and like you can tell that these are the rejects because all of the powers are horrible. At least for the most part. So the detachable arms, like his arms come off, and they can float around and slap people, but he needs to focus really hard. So he's just like standing in the middle of a firefight, slapping some people casually. Yeah, it doesn't go well for them, so they all die. But then it shows us the actual squad, right? The A-team, if you will, of people who they think they can just get rid of, which includes King Shark, Bloodsport, the Rat Catcher, and Polka Dot Man. Is there anybody else? No. Oh, and whoever John Cena plays, Peacemaker. Then we immediately get like some quick background of them putting together this squad. We find out that Bloodsport has a daughter.
Tyler.
Yeah, her name's Tyler, and basically the warden of said prison, whose name is what?
So the warden is
Who's
John Economos. He's the warden of the prison, but
Who's the lady who does
Amanda
everything?
Waller is the person who...
Amanda Waller's like, hey, what if I sent your daughter to jail for shoplifting, huh? How about that? And he's like, no, don't do that. I'll be in your Suicide Squad. So she's like, ha, gotcha. So he's in the Suicide Squad. Rat Catcher's in the Suicide Squad. Her whole power is she can talk to rats. She's Squirrel Girl, but for rats.
She's way cooler than Squirrel Girl.
Squirrel Girl beats Thanos once.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I mean, that's what happens. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, Rat Catcher's pretty dope, though. She beats a person who we'll talk about in a minute. Longer than a minute. Anyways, so Blood Sports powers that he's an aimbot. He's good at aiming.
Aimbot? I've never heard that.
So
awesome.
like in video games, an aimbot is like, I can't actually aim. Let me download this hack to make me really good at aiming.
Oh, I see.
So it aims for you. So it's an aimbot. So he's an aimbot. Polka Dot Man. His mother did some like science experiments on him on him and his siblings when he was a child. Most of his siblings died, except for like 2 of them, but the ones who survived got superpowers. His superpower is an interdimensional infection, or virus, that makes his body break out in polka dot lumps, and if he doesn't get rid of a whole bunch of polka dot, that's me, I'm squeaking, sorry. Okay. And if he doesn't get rid of those polka dot lumps, he dies. But he can also use them for the powers of murder, so it's, it all pans out. Polka Dot Man is probably the most morally grounded person there. His real problem and why he's probably a villain is because the side effect of his power is that he sees everybody as his mother, and he hates his mother. And that's like the only person who he hates and actually wants to kill. So, that's a problem. Oh, and they also have King Shark, who's a shark person. What's his actual name?
Oh, God. It's like Anawe.
Anawe. Yeah, Anawe, the shark person, who's never had a friend. But that gets fixed later on, and we'll talk. Well, it gets fixed by Rat Catcher, but we'll talk about it later. Also, important note, Rat Catcher's called Rat Catcher 2 because her dad was Rat Catcher 1. He's not alive because he was into heroin. At least I think that's how he died.
Yeah, he did drugs.
Yeah. And then whatever Channing Tatum ripoff guy...
John Cena?
John Cena,
You mean like Matt Damon, Mark Wahlberg to the 3rd degree, John Cena?
Yeah. So John Cena is just a crappier aimbot. Like, that's his whole thing.
Like one who, like, huffs the American flag.
Yeah, like, if he could... Every disgraced flag, he could just, like, inject into his veins. That's what he's doing. And he's perfectly fine with, like, murdering whoever he has to, like, uphold the integrity of America. If it's a child, if it's a woman, his moral compass is very much not grounded in people. And that is why he's on the team, because, they're a U.S. team, and Amanda Waller's like, hey, we need somebody who'll do, like, whatever the hell I tell him to do. All that I have to say is it's for America, and he'll do it.
Yeah, no questions.
So, that's the squad. They all get put together. They get shipped out to the same island as Group A. Group A was a distraction, though, which is why they all died. Whereas Group B, like, stealthily gets into the jungle. The only two people who don't die from Team B is Harley Quinzel, also known as Harley Quinn, also known as Harley Quinn, and
the Joker's ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, and then that other guy,
Rick Flag.
Rick Flag. Sorry, I'm bad with names. So Rick Flag, you will maybe remember from the first movie if you saw it, but if not, he's just like a U.S. commando dude who they're like, hey, chill with these crazy inmates and make sure they get the job done, and if they don't, we'll blow their necks up. Deal. So he gets captured. And their first task is to go and rescue him, right? They're like, hey, we got this dude who isn't actually expendable, so go pick him up. So they find themselves in this insurgent camp, right? And immediately Bloodsport and Peacemaker decide that, hey, I want to show off. I'm the baddest cat in town, right? I'm the coolest king in the castle. So,
and you're the dirty rascal.
And you're the dirty rascal. So they're in the insurgent camp. They murder everybody there, only to find out that the insurgent camp was insurgent against the government that they're there to fight against. So they actually just murdered like 50 of their own allies indiscriminately without checking. And Rick Flag was not kidnapped. He was rescued. And he's actually just hanging out with this lady who he was friends with for a very long time. So a past friend. Regardless of the fact that they just like murdered the whole platoon of insurgents, the insurgents are like, yeah, we'll help you anyways. Our goals kind of align even though you just murdered all my people. So they give them a stealthy ride into the main city where their actual goal lies, which is to destroy this scientific facility, Jotunheim, where the U.S. believes there is some stuff that might be used against America and the world. So they get into the city and they're trying to find a head scientist in said city. I can't remember what his name is. Yeah, the Thinker, yeah. He's bald and he has like a bunch of crap sticking out of his head to make him smarter.
He's a Flash villain.
Yeah, so he's a Flash villain. There's actually a lot of Flash villains in this movie. Apparently Flash didn't have a lot of good villains, and they were like, let's just kill them all off in this movie. How's that sound?
Well, the good news is that the Flash movie, he goes back in time, so we could see some of these guys again.
Perfect.
Anyway, keep going.
So they're trying to hunt down the Thinker, and the Thinker tends to pick up prostitutes at this one strip bar. So they go there to kidnap him, and they do. But on the downside, they also piss off the government. Now, the government is mad because Harley Quinn, who is also in that Team A group that everybody died in, was kidnapped, and then like brought over to the Imperial Palace. And the Presidential Palace?
Presidential Palace.
Dictatorial Palace. And the dictator was like, yo, we hear that you hate America. We hate America. And then the dictator's like, hey, will you marry me? And for like 12 seconds, they're in love, right? And they have like this whole like long montage of like, oh, you're so hot. No, you're so hot. Oh, let me put my tongue in your mouth. And then, they kiss a little bit. And some other stuff happens, but you'll have to watch the movie to see that. And that all is going great until the dictator starts talking about, oh my god, what's the starfish's name?
Starro.
Yeah, Starro, who we find out later on is an alien from space that they've been growing to destroy the world, or to basically become super powerful, right? The last administration was.
Oh yeah, they were tormenting him, experimenting him.
To try to figure out how to tame him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, the dictator's like, yeah, back in the day, the last leader of the country, the American puppet for this country, would just send whoever opposed him into this lab and nobody would ever see them again. And then he's like, and that's exactly the same thing that I'm going to do to everybody who says something bad against me. And Harley's like, yo man, I'm not about that. I'm going to shoot you with this flintlock pistol. So she kills him. And he's dead. And then the goal becomes to rescue said Harley Quinn for the squad because they're like, yo, we don't leave anybody behind. So they do that, and then they have to deal with the lab and Starro. And I don't want to say anything more because, like, you know, it's kind of a straightforward plot, and you're gonna have to see what happens in the climax, which is the Starro fight. But before anything,
It's like the whole movie.
yeah, I just want to say, Starro is a giant starfish with a big eyeball in the middle, who poops out smaller starfish. Like, I understand that he's comic book, like, relevant, like he's an actual character, and just make him up for the movie. But whoever was making this character's on drugs. You know what I mean? Like, whoever originally was like, yeah, space starfish with eyeball. That's the villain. He's gonna fight everybody. He can do it. That guy, yeah, he was having too good of a time.
I feel like he was just like throwing stuff at the wall and was like, I have all the power in the world.
Yeah, I feel like this whole movie is just like they took a bunch of weird characters that exist in the DC universe, and they're like, alright, let's do something with them.
Well, James Gunn's gone on record saying he literally typed in stupidest DC villain or lamest DC villain, and like Polka Dot Man popped up and he's like, okay, I gotta reinvent the wheel here. I gotta make this dude like
Cool.
I gotta make him legit. So like that is a cool tactic. But I guess like, all right. So like let's talk about the before we hop into some other stuff. What did you like about the Suicide Squad? The second outing with this whole idea for DC.
I think that they didn't go too big. I think that they weren't afraid to kill people. I thought that I don't want to say that the acting was amazing across the board because it wasn't, but it was better than the last one. And characters, like for example in the first one, you have the guy who turns into a big Aztec fire god. And throughout that entire film, he's like, no, I'm never going to use my powers. I hate all of you. I hope you all die. Right? To at the very end scene of the film, they're like, that's my family! And then he's like, I'm going to use my powers again, even though I said I wasn't going to. And I know I said I hated all of you, but now you're my family, even though there's no build up to this at all. You know, like, they didn't do that, which is really good. You know, it's really good to have, like, build up. And then again, the bad guys weren't horrible. You know, like, they were campy and weird, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, Starro's strange, but that's fine. They just weren't bad, you know? Like
in the last one, it was, like, Enchantress and, like, her brother in Trash City.
They're just doing, like, weird magic crap, and they have, like, zombies. And this one, it's just like, hey, look, people, giant starfish.
I got you. Corrupt government regime.
Yeah, giant starfish.
Okay.
And it's believable, because America, all the time we're messing with Central America, and that's what we're doing in this movie. That's just history.
Yeah.
That's just like, hey, look, a banana republic. Time to topple that shit.
The Reagan era just never ended.
Yeah.
That's just what
That's the movie.
Suicide Squad, the Reaganomics.
But go ahead.
No, okay, yeah, I agree with that. Like, with looking at this one, I feel like DC, one of the biggest problems with DC is it doesn't seem they know what they want. You know what I mean? Because the first Suicide Squad, they tried to make it emulate Guardians of the Galaxy too much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, like, I know the studio interfered a lot with David Ayer's movie, right? They have a current campaign on Twitter, like, saying release the Ayer cut, right? Because they didn't release his movie, right? They made it, they dwindled, they watered it down to make it PG-13 and fit, kind of add more comedy, add more lightheartedness to it. right? So then what they literally did was got the guy who did Guardians of the Galaxy and was like, yo, you can do anything you want. We're not going to meddle with you. Now, I like James Gunn. I think he did a really good job. I think he's a good storyteller. But I don't think it's fair for the studio to meddle with one director's vision and then literally give another person everything under the sun and say, hey man, go balls to the wall, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You know, so like it sets up an unfair dynamic.
For sure.
You know, so like I hope they do release the Air cut. I do like James Gunn's vision. I don't think that this movie was a reboot, right? I think he came at this material in a way that held true to the idea like, yo, these guys are expendable.
Yeah.
We can kill them off. So how he incorporated like the, you know, Team B and Team A into the movie and how he shot it for when like new members are put in the field. I thought that was real smart. Like they see like, oh, this is what you're signing up for when you're part of the Suicide Squad, right? Like how you said we see it through Savant's eyes. I thought that was really cool. I thought it was really cool when they had like some of these big name actors playing like characters who only have 5 to 10 minutes of screen time and then they're just dead.
Yeah.
You know? I thought it was, I'm not going to say who they kill, but I thought it was a real shame that they killed some favorites from the first movie.
Yeah.
You know, like that was a little disappointing.
Yeah.
I really liked Idris Elba as more of like the main character. You know what I mean? Like, if there is ever any more, like, I like seeing him at the helm of a superhero franchise, right? Like, I think he does a very good job becoming a leader and, like, the interactions with him and John Cena. I don't think John Cena is, like, the best actor, but I will say out of all the films he's done, this is probably his best work. You know?
Yeah.
Not that he'll win awards or anything, but for John Cena, this is the best thing John Cena's done.
Yeah, I have a lot of issues with, like, the writing in this film, and I haven't talked to anybody who's agreed with me on this yet, but a lot of the lines felt very forced.
For him or just in general?
In general, and mostly it's interactions with him that I noticed it, and it's mostly in between him and Bloodsport, right? And I know a lot of it's supposed to be comedy, but it just doesn't feel like it flows. Like there's an instance where they're like competing to be cool, right? And they're like doing like the best trick shots or whatever, and then one of the dudes shoots an explosive bullet that kills somebody, and it's like, you weren't accurate. You shot an explosive, and he's like, oh, it's cool, and then like 3 seconds later, Bloodsport's like, damn it, he's right, it is cool. And it's like, that didn't feel genuine at all. It just felt like they were forcing a hammy line through.
Like, I don't think Idris Elba would be like, yeah, like, you know, would go into that.
I don't know, it just didn't feel like the character, which is...
Like, Bloodsport has wounded Superman. That shouldn't impress him.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, they're having, like, an aiming competition. If I throw a grenade... And, like, if everybody else is using pistols and I huck a grenade, like, I'm not aiming. I'm just lobbing some crap at somebody.
But then again, that's kind of like the Indiana Jones scene, right? Like, Indy doesn't sword fight that guy. He just pulls a gun and shoots him.
Yeah, but nobody says that was cool afterwards. Everybody just knows that it was hysterical.
Oh, well, I don't know. Okay, I got you. It's the adding words to after the event type thing.
Yeah, I mean, it also doesn't help that I really don't like
John
Cena's acting, but you know, I don't know. I'm not impressed by a lot of those interactions. I don't know if it's the script, and I'm pretty sure it's the script. And, you know, there's only so much that Idris Elba can do. His back can only carry so much.
Oh, I got
you. With those engagements.
No, for sure, man. I think definitely they added more humor into DC in this movie than in any, like, previous entry in the DC multiverse. Like, you know, James Gunn definitely took that whole... you know, Guardians of the Galaxy, you know, equation and put it in this.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, I think that I don't even think that this is like the best DC movie to come out.
No, I wouldn't say it's the best one.
Like I think it's not bad.
It was overhyped.
I think it's overhyped, and I think that more people are kind of like impressed by it than they should be. I just don't think it's that amazing. Like, it's good. Yeah. I would suggest watching it, but I don't plan on rewatching it anytime soon. You know, it's not like Wonder Woman for DC, like the first Wonder Woman. Yeah. That's a movie that I'd watch multiple times.
I would say arguably Aquaman even.
I wouldn't, but you can say that.
Anyway, sorry, keep going.
Or like Dark Knight. You know, like any of the Dark Knight films. You know, it's not like that, but it's still not bad. Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's just how I feel. Are there any characters that really stood out to you?
I think so obviously Idris Elba, you know, does a great job.
Yep.
John Cena I think does an okay job. We're not huge fans of John Cena. This, like I said, I think is his best acting gig he's done so far. So hopefully he keeps on that track. But I think in a lot of ways, Daniela Melchior, right? Ratcatcher 2.
I liked her a lot.
I thought she really stole the show, right? Like you mentioned earlier, like some of those like sweeter, somber moments, like between her and King Shark, like when they talk about.
I don't think I mentioned that, but I think
you did. Well, you talked about him not having a friend.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah,
that whole idea of friendship, like when she connects with him, and when she talks about her father, and like her interaction with the rats. You know, like I thought that was.
It's the only time I thought that a rat was cute.
Yeah,
in my life.
Hands down, only time I thought a rat was cute, but like. She does a great job as this character.
Yeah.
You know, I'd really like to see more of her. I think David Dasmalchian did a great job as Polka Dot Man.
Yeah.
Just like being neurotic and like in his own head and like having one-liners like, we're all gonna die. Someone's like, we're all gonna die. He's like, God, I hope so. And it's just like uncomfortable.
Yeah, so like throughout this whole movie, like everybody's like trying to kind of be hard besides like Ratcatcher, right? Like everybody's trying to be like hard and imposing, and then you have Polka Dot Man, who's just like weird. You know what I mean? Like everybody else is like, oh, I'm a badass, and Polka Dot Man's like, why do I see my mother everywhere? Like, why does that shark man look like my mom?
He's in a constant state of therapy, no matter where he is.
Yeah, he's just like a weirdo, and he's. Yeah, I don't know. He sells being a weirdo. And his power is actually kind of disgustingly strong.
Yeah.
Like, whenever they have to do, like, a big attack, it's just like, Polka Dot Man, activate. You know, he gets the job done.
But watching the movie through his eyes, it's cool seeing him, like, understand his power and come to terms like, yo, I am...
a hero.
A hero. Like, that part, that's really cool.
Yeah, like, Polka Dot Man... isn't actually a bad guy.
No.
You know, like, not in any regard. Like, you know, Bloodsport, arguably a good person, but he's a mercenary. You know, what's John Cena's character?
Peacemaker.
Peacemaker, bad person. Kills children.
For America.
For America. Kills children, period. The other part doesn't even need to be there. You killed a child, you're a bad person.
Fair enough.
You know, Polka Dot Man probably accidentally, or probably killed somebody because he thought they were his mom, who tortured him as a child. I can let that slide.
Well, I mean, he's kind of like Psycho, if you think about it. Like, as long as he's not dressing up like his mom, but like Bates Motel, but like his Polka Dot Man, like that might be his storyline. I also think David Dasmalchian could be a very good Norman Bates.
Yeah, he could.
Like, he'd be a really good Norman Bates.
Yeah.
I feel like one character I'm sure it's worth talking about, like, King Shark, right? Or Anawe. Right? He had some really cool scenes, like, where he was talking about disguises, and, like, they're like, no, man, it doesn't work, and he gets pissed and swears, and it's funny.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Who taught you that, Anawe?
And then, like, when he sees everyone going inside and you feel bad for him because he can't.
Yeah, because he has to stay in the van because you draw too much attention.
But I feel like part of my problem with it is it's just like Groot.
Yeah.
Like,
no, for sure.
It's just Groot as a shark.
And they picked, like, a short macho man to do it, too. Because Groot's Vin Diesel. This is Sylvester Stallone.
Well, Stallone does the voice. The body is that Steve Aoki guy.
Yeah. Does Vin Diesel do the body of Groot?
I don't know. He just does the voice.
That's what I mean.
I got you.
It's
okay.
the same thing.
Yeah, but like, I mean, arguably, I think it's cooler because Stallone's way cooler than Vin Diesel.
I mean,
is,
that's true.
You know, and it's a shark, and he just wants to be friends with people.
Yeah, and eat them.
Yeah.
No, Nawe is cool, but you're totally right. He's just Groot, and that's kind of disappointing. And the fact, like, obviously that's what the Guardians of the Galaxy guy's gonna do. He's just gonna make Groot Part 2.
Yeah. A blue version.
Blue, not tree Groot. Animal Groot. But, I mean, Anawe is funny sometimes. Like, Anawe wants to be smart and accepted, but he's obviously not. So, like, in the first scene that you see Anawe, he's pretending to read a book, but he's holding it upside down. So you know that he has no actual concept of how reading works, or really how books work. But he knows that if he opens it, he can say he's reading. So he does that, because he wants to be relatable.
Yeah.
Like, he sees the humans, and he's like, I want to be friends with you. So he tries to act like a human, but he's not, you know? So Anawe's kind of tragic.
He is, but like, what's crazy is out of all the humans, he's the most human character.
Yeah, and he's not even.
You know?
I like Anawe. I don't like him for this film, but I like him as him.
Like, I would be super cool if they did a spin-off
Just Anawe?
of Anawe, of Polka Dot Man, right? Like, the characters he has established who you know, stand out throughout, they very easily, I think, could have spin-offs or, you know, they end up in other things, right? Like, they're pretty well written.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And like I was saying, I think a lot of the interactions are kind of forced, but I think as on their own, I think these characters would be fine.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I'd watch a Ratcatcher movie.
Or just like her in some other, you know, DC film.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, Ratcatcher. Or like a King Shark. How did he end up in, you know, the prison, Belle Reve? You know, I'd love to see the Bloodsport movie where he shoots Superman and wounds him. Like, that would be dope. You know, they're making a Peacemaker spin-off. Do I think he deserves that? No.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Yeah, he's like the least good. I take Anawe over like, I don't even like the concept of Anawe's character because it's just Guardians of the Galaxy Part 5. I know they don't have that many films, but anyways. Yet. But I would totally take a spin-off show about Anawe before I take a Peacemaker show. Like, not even a hard decision.
No, man. Just see a talking shark doing stuff, like, that'd be dope.
Yeah.
It's almost like Street Sharks.
Yeah.
They should do a revamp of that.
So overall, like, good movie.
It's a good follow-up to David Ayer's film. However, I think it's, you know, wholeheartedly uncool that, like, they chastised that movie and praised this one simply because it's like I'm not saying the first one didn't have its flaws.
Because it has a lot of them.
Because it does.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's fair to ruin a person's vision and then let another person come in and just do whatever they want.
Yeah. The other issue with this film is that it's, like, unnecessarily long. Like, it's like 2.5 hours or some crap like that. And it does not need to be. You can cut out, like, 30 minutes of content and, honestly, it would just be a more concise film. And it would still be 2 hours long. You know? Like, it would still be a long film.
I think I might disagree. I would watch more of it.
Yeah?
Like, if it went longer, I would watch it.
I don't know. I have a problem if your movies are too long.
That's fair.
That's just me, though. And not your movies, but movies.
No, I got you.
But yeah, good film. Check it out. I don't know if I'm going to be naming my child Anawe anytime soon. But, you know, it's not bad.
No, there's not.
Good.
If you're listening, Warner Brothers, release the Ayer cut and keep the squad going.
Yeah.
This has been the Welch Review, and we'll see you next time.